Right now on LBC News, let's turn back to the subject of the day, which is Arcadia and now Debenhams facing a difficult future. In fact, perhaps a non-existent future, certainly as their present format. Let's talk to Julian Cox, who is an employment specialist and partner at the law firm BLM, and joins me on the call now. Julian, what will they do vis-à-vis the staff? What are the first priorities of both these organisations as they look to their employees?
Well, we're looking at good morning. We're looking at two very different situations at the moment. With Arcadia, we're looking at an administration situation, and that gives the business owners and the administrators some breathing space to look at the situation with those employees and to see what's going to happen with the business, which parts of the business can be salvaged. Now, for those employees, they do have employment rights still. They have protections in place. They've still got their contracts of employment, entitlements to national minimum wage, holiday, working hours, family-friendly rights. All of that is there. And if they stay on for a period over 14 days, and my understanding at the moment is Arcadia businesses are still looking to trade, then the rights of the employees, they increase. So they have they're treated as preferential creditors in any redundancy in situation. So there are options. And it's possible in the administration situation that some of those employees, let's be positive about it, in terms of parts of the business that can be salvaged and are going to be sold off, those employees will have other protections as well. They'll transfer across under what is called QP.
Yeah, they could be TUPE'd across to a new employer, could they? And that's their right, that they have to be considered first for that kind of arrangement.
Yeah, well, that's enshrined in English law as it's a bit of European law, really. It's been around for a long time to protect workers in situations such as this. So they would transfer across with their terms and conditions intact, their continuity of employment intact, crucially as well. So they would have continuity of employment also. Okay. And any changes to their terms and conditions there'd have to be consultation with employees post transfer. So there's some measure of protection there. The Debenhams situation, where the company's been in administration for some time, and it's now looking at potentially, we don't know, but one of the options could be a liquidation, then that would be an entirely different situation for those employees, sadly.
Oh, once a firm moves into liquidation, those rights to be considered first, or certainly put in the first few considerations where finances are concerned, that evaporates, does it, if you liquidate a firm?
Not strictly true, not entirely. In an insolvency situation, in a liquidation situation, those employees would still be treated as preferential creditors. If you look at the tier system, so you've got secured at the very top, preferred underneath, and unsecured underneath that, they would be treated as preferred. Okay. But it may be the case that the business simply doesn't have the money to pay out on things like redundancy, in which case they need to apply through the redundancy payment scheme through the government.
Okay, and there is a government-backed scheme to help with that. What about pension entitlements? Do pension funds get protected when assets are being, dissolved or thrown around or just disappear?
Unpaid pension contributions are protected up to a year before the insolvency situation arose, so that, again, you can apply against the government fund in relation to pension, but to that extent, it'd be in terms of pension contributions.
Okay, but the pension fund that exists with either a pension provider, is that protected? I mean, if somebody, I can imagine there's quite a few people might be approaching retirement. They're going to be particularly worried, aren't they? Are they going to lose their work pension?
I'm afraid that's not something I can.
Oh, right, okay. That's outside
really. It's beyond my pay grade. It's not. I'm a pure employment
Forgive me.
Pensions law.
Yeah, no. Okay. The point is, this is going to be a worrying time, and it won't get fixed, Julian, will it? Because I'm sure we can imagine the complexities of the interrelationships between these companies, and to a degree, you know, Debenhams was inextricably linked with Arcadia. It had many of the Arcadia brands as sort of sublet customers within its stores.
Oh, absolutely, the concessions in all the stores.
Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. There's inextricably interlinked the two situations. So what happens with Debenhams is going to obviously have a knock-on effect with Arcadia, obviously, and it's going to change the parameters there. But look, there are still, in terms of the Arcadia businesses, those brands have a value in themselves. I mean, this is a sector that is at the forefront in terms of being in difficulty as a result of the continuing pandemic, them and hospitality. And of course, there are lots of retail employers groups out there, hospitality and retail groups out there, who are calling on the government to put in place more measures to try and offer additional support over what hopefully should be a finite period of time, just to get us through to the spring, when there are going to be vaccines available, so that we could be looking at an entirely different situation. So it may this is what I'm hearing from my clients, from trade organisations as well, is that they need more help. Yes, the government have done something, furlough scheme, etc., protection against windings up, but more needs to be done, I think.
Julian, good to talk to you. Thank you very much indeed for being part of our programme today.